Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Today is June 24th, 2025, and today the prosecution and the defense rested their cases in the Diddy trial. Now, the article I read yesterday said that they were taking today off and they had rested after yesterday. So it's interesting that they ended up having a short amount of time in court today on Freemasonry's birthday. But I want you to see the joke here. Again, the headline, Sean Diddy Combs' attorneys end their defense case after only 20 minutes. Now, remember who the whole case is centered around. His girlfriend, Cassie. And remember, their arrest was perfectly synced with Cassie. Just look at what the base ciphers reveal here. Again, if you're new here, gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. There are 4 base ciphers of the English language per the Manly P. Hall book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, published in 1926. They're the 4s you see on the screen: the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. So you recall Diddy was arrested on the day leaving 106 days left in the year. The name Cassie equates to 106 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. Remember, Frank Lucas also equals 106, and Diddy's father worked for Frank Lucas. The word black is 106 in the same cipher. Black Lives Matter has the 106 connection, as does I Can't Breathe. A lot of rituals with 106 in Black history. Think of the BET show 106 in Park. Think of Obama putting out his book, A Promised Land, 106 days after his birthday, et cetera, et cetera. When we went to the Yale campus, we saw that the Prince Hall Masonic Lodge at the Yale campus, it's building 106, et cetera, et cetera. So Diddy was arrested on the day leaving 106 days left in the year. He was arrested 56 days after the anniversary of the release of No Way Out, the album that put him on the map. No Way Out. Back then it was him and Mace. And again, that's what the alphabetic order. Cassie's 56. If you apply numerology, Cassie is 20. Again, today's headline. They rested their case after 20 minutes. And when you run it in reverse with numerology, Cassie's 43. Remember, yesterday was 42 days after the trial began on May 12th. And yesterday's story said that they are resting their cases. But here we are the next day, again on Masonry's birthday. And now they have officially rested 43 days later. In light of it being Masonry's birthday, June 24th, don't forget in that same cipher, Masonic is 43. But yeah, what a joke. What a joke. And remember just how much hype there was for this whole thing, right? All this hype, supposedly all these celebrities were going to get named, going to be some big witnesses on the stand. There hasn't been any of that. Just nothing but BS. And this was just like dominating the headlines for so long. And just a whole lot of nothing. And yeah, the only 2, people that the cases were centered on were Cassie and a Jane Doe. But yeah, just to read a little bit of this. Sean Diddy Combs' legal team rested their case in his sex trafficking trial on Tuesday. Again, that's June 24, 2025. Modern Freemasonry's 308th birthday. The key digits there are 3 and 8. Remember, rapper equals 38. A lot of rappers have been killed by that 38 code. This is more of a killing of the ego and the personality for Diddy, who, no matter what the outcome is, people will remember all the stories about the dildos and the freak-offs and all this. Their short presentation followed nearly 7 weeks of arguments and witness testimony brought by federal prosecutors in New York. Remember, they said the feds rested their case yesterday too, which was exactly 33 weeks after Diddy's birthday, like federal's 33, like Masonry's 33, like secrecy, like order, like Diddy's daddy died at 33, not to mention New York equals 33. And here on Masonry's birthday, the 33-year-old Democratic Socialist has upset Cuomo. The prosecution finished making their case Tuesday afternoon. His defense attorneys argued that the government has failed to meet the burden in proving any of the charges against him, which he's vehemently denied, and the judge should drop the case against him. Mr. Combs also confirmed to the court that he would not take the stand in his own trial. It's my decision with my lawyers not to testify, he told the judge. Mr. Combs pleaded not guilty to charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He faces up to life in prison if convicted in the scheme. Speaking for the first time in court in weeks, on Tuesday, Mr. Combs told Judge Arun Subramanian that he was doing an excellent job. I want to tell you thank you, the rapper told the judge. Prosecutors have alleged Mr. Combs used his celebrity status and business empire to run a criminal enterprise to sex traffic women and conceal his crimes. During their arguments, the government called more than 30 witnesses to the stand. The defense called none, instead submitting into evidence several text messages between Mr. Combs and his ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie, and another victim who testified under the pseudonym Jane. It is always difficult for defense teams to decide whether to call any fact witnesses to the stand, said Mitchell Epner, a New York-based lawyer and former prosecutor. Calling new witnesses can introduce more problems for the defense, and having Mr. Combs take the stand would have been an even riskier move, hanging the case mostly on his testimony, Mr. Epner said. Instead, Mr. Combs' lawyers gave a quick presentation showing messages in an attempt to bolster their argument that Mr. Combs' girlfriends were willing participants in sexual encounters with him and male escorts, which were called freak-offs. In one text message to Mr. Combs that his attorneys read aloud, Jane told him, "I always have fun during their freak-offs," or what she called hotel nights. The quick defense case came after Mr. Combs' legal team filed a motion asking the court to acquit their client, claiming the government had not met their burden in proving any of the charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. Do you remember the first day that the legal team went before and they had to announce they were the same team that took down Epstein, and they really didn't have anything that sounded like it was a crime, but they just kept saying freak-offs over and over, freak-offs, 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 which was the same gematria as Puff Daddy and 3 of the 4 base ciphers, including that big fat 42. Like yesterday, the media made it seem like they arrested the case after 42 days. Anyway, his attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, argued that the victims in the case were capable women who could have left on their own accord, giving a hint of the points the legal team is likely to present during closing arguments scheduled later this week on Thursday and Friday. Oh, the Friday would obviously be 3 days from today. That's 46 days later. And of course, Diddy equals 46, like Sean Combs, like rapper, like how Diddy's ex died at 46. Kim Porter. Mr. Combs was regrettably violent, but domestic violence is not sex trafficking, Mr. Shapiro said. Prosecutors have argued Mr. Combs' ex-girlfriends were coerced into unwanted sex acts with drugs, violence, and other means. Yeah. They arrest after 43 days, when the whole thing's been about Cassie the whole time. Again, the 4 base ciphers. I mean, yeah. One more time, quick recap for those who need the refresher. 56 days after the No Way Out anniversary, 20-minute defense, arrested on the day, leaving 106 days left in the air. Everyone rests their case 43 days after the trial began. Perfect. By the numbers. Gematria. It's a shame more people don't want to know about it. Until next time. Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Another story that crept up on Freemasonry's birthday, Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, was the teenager Carmelo Anthony indicted for a first-degree murder charge. And the ritual with this is just as obvious as the initial stabbing ritual was. Remember, on the same day that the basketball star Carmelo Anthony was nominated to the Hall of Fame, April 2nd, this story about a younger Carmelo Anthony, spelled with a K rather than a C for Carmelo. Again, the story broke that he had stabbed another high schooler at a track meet in Frisco, Texas. And we talked about the significance of it happening on April 2nd, 4/2. We're going to add to that significance now that you get this update on Freemasonry's birthday. But that was also the anniversary of Rodney King's birthday. And of course, they've been trying to start a race war on social media over this story. story. The Shiloh Hendrix raising nearly $1 million for calling a 5-year-old the N-word in Minnesota 5 years after the George Floyd thing, and then her name being Hendrix, reminding us of Jimi Hendrix, who came from Seattle, which had the longest George Floyd protest with the Autonomous Zone. Anyway, look at this ritual, you guys. From April 2nd, the day of the stabbing, to June 24th, the day of the murder indictment, 83 days. And how many times have we talked about murder and 83 in this Code of Gematria? Again, look up the song Murder by Numbers by The Police from 1983, where it's about killing is as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. And then look up the movie poster for Murder by Numbers, where they changed the letters to numbers, so you have an 8 and a 3 in the title. And the star of that film, Sandra Bullock, her name also has the 83 connection. But if you're new here, this is the Kabbalistic practice of calling numbers into words. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Z is 1 back to A is 26, and add up the letters of murder, it equates to 83. A first degree, right here, first degree murder. Carmelo Anthony has been charged with first degree murder in connection with the stabbing death of a 17-year-old at a high school track meet in April. Of course, it was April 2nd. And this happened on Tuesday, June 24th. Now, 83 days later is true. You could also say it was a span of 84 days. That would also be true. And Masonry equates to 84. This indictment came on Freemasonry's birthday. Masonry is 84, and you run it in reverse. When you run it forwards, Austin is 84. Obviously, the victim was Austin Metcalf. And again, if you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language: alphabetic order, reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. Remember, we talked about the stabbing on 4-2 and how the stabber and the victim, Carmelo, spelled with a K, and Austin, both equal 42. Now here we are on Freemasonry's birthday. Freemason is also 42. For the record, Carmelo also equates to 75, and it was a date with 75 numerology, the date of the indictment, June 24th, 2025. And you can see down below the 4 base ciphers of the English language. You can see how Jesuit and Austin have perfect overlap in all 4. Remember, modern Freemasonry, its daddy is Jesuitism. Again, the Jesuits are responsible for the language and the calendar and created this system that's so perfectly coordinated and synced. But yeah, for the record, Austin Metcalf also equates to Jesuit order, and Carmelo Anthony also equates to the Jesuit motto Ad Merum Dei Gloriam. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about murder in 83. I mean, just so many times over the years, it's ridiculous. I mean, there's got to be at least 1,000 examples we've gone over the years, and this just adds to it. And it was obvious the story was a psychological operation from the beginning. Nobody ever heard the name Carmelo Anthony outside of the basketball star. On the same day he's nominated to the Hall of Fame, this happens. I mean, come on. On Rodney King's birthday, as they, again, try to ignite a race war. I mean, come on. Yeah. Everyone gets so caught up in these news stories, and nobody's seen any proof anything even happened. Anyone got any proof anything happened? You notice how, like, nobody that knows these people have any videos on social media? There's, like, nobody from the school talking about it. No popular YouTube video from students at the school. No. Nope. It's just news by the numbers. Just another psyop. Another thing to get people worked up and divided over. Same thing the news does day after day. And the plebs just keep falling for it. Got to use the word plebs because today is George Orwell's birthday. I'm doing this video the day after June 25th. You know, George Orwell, who wrote 1984, about the society people ruled over by the tyrants who keep people under control through the screens, constantly changing the history, keeping the people always at war. 1984. And, of course, Michael Jackson died suspiciously on this day in history, unless Dave was him in disguise afterwards on Larry King. But, of course, Michael Jackson had that monster 1984 year. Thriller was all over the place in 84. What a day for Michael Jackson to die prematurely on George Orwell's birthday. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Thanks to everyone who hits the like and the share and who helps get out the word. I just wonder what would happen if this channel's subscriber base made an active effort to watch the videos and hit the like and leave a comment. If somehow we could break the algorithm, or maybe people are doing that and it still makes it look like nobody's watching the videos. But yeah, I suspect about 24 hours from now, we'll probably be up to 1K views, and that just ain't cutting it. Videos like this knowledge should be hitting millions of people every time because it's so consistent. Until next time. Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is June 26, 2025, the Islamic New Year, and one of the top international stories is massive flooding in China, impacting at least 80,000 people, they've said. It could be a lot more as densely populated as China is. But look at the area that's getting hit. Guangxi, or is it Guangxi? Anyhow, this is the area that's getting ravaged by the floodwaters, and you see the gematria, 83. We've talked about this so many times. The biblical flood ends in the Bible in Genesis 8:3, and again, this calendar that says this has happened on June 26, 2025, it comes from the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, who served the church, who are invested in the Bible. Again, the Jesuits have given us the calendar, the English language. Remember, the Jesuits took a lot from the Far East. The Jesuits have been in the Far East for longer than the United States of America has existed, of course, where yours truly is speaking from. But yeah, you got to learn this Kabbalistic practice of letters, numbers, and words because it's the same stuff over and over. There are 4 base ciphers of the English language: alphabetic order with numerology, reverse alphabetic order with numerology. You can see how in 3 of the 4 ciphers, Flood, Earth, and Enlil, again, have this perfect overlap. If you look into what Enlil is, it's the Babylonian god of storms and flooding. Again, this knowledge of Kabbalah and Gematria goes back to Babylon. But we see the same repetitive numbers over and over in the bizarre flooding. And keep in mind, yesterday was the 25th, and they said these floodwaters started to come down yesterday and then carried into today, creating the devastation. So the 25th was involved in this as well. And today, June 26th, it is the 177th day of the year. Those Jesuits, look at the gematria of weather control in the Jesuit order, triple overlap. Today is the 177th day of the year. Keep in mind, today can be written 26/6 like 266, and the Jesuit motto, Ius Hominum Salvator, equates to 266. The first Jesuit pope was Pope Francis, the 266th pope in the history of the church, who was the first to live in Suite 201, who just died by the numbers. 201 days from the man he was named after, St. Francis of Assisi. 201 days from his death anniversary, I should say. But yeah, the other thing that stands out about this event is where this flooding is on the 109th meridian east. And of course, military and weather equate to 109. And again, June 26, here we are. Towns and villages by a major river in China's Guangxi lay half submerged as floodwaters from a province upstream roared into the mountainous region with the expected landfall of a tropical cyclone later on Thursday, compounding disaster risk. The flooding that overwhelmed the cities of Rongzheng and Kongzheng in Guizhou province on Tuesday. So again, it started on the 25th and roared into today, Thursday, had spread downstream to other parts of southwest China, including rural settlements in Guangxi by the Lu River, which originates from Guizhou. But yeah, it's just, these same combinations of numbers in the extreme weather events that matter to all of us worldwide, because this is going on worldwide. You don't think insurance companies in the U.S. look at this and go, oh man, another reason we got to hike rates, because it's just a matter of time until the same thing happens here in a populated area in the U.S. and we got claims galore. Yeah, they've sold us on this whole idea of climate change, and in the 50s, 60s, 70s, there was chatter about the future of weather control. That's kind of been flushed out in the era of talking about climate change. And now people who don't do any of their own homework, their own research, don't look into the facts of the past. They think what we're saying is just pure conspiracy theory. Meanwhile, the president, September 25th, 1961, it was JFK at the time, was going to the United Nations and talking about the future of the weather control. In the 90s, the Air Force put out the document about how they would own the weather by 2025. Look it up. Owning the weather by 2025, Air Force document from the 90s. 52-page document, by the way. I've covered it in the past. First act of weather warfare admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 52. And the other frustrating thing is just like making videos and addressing them to channels that are covering weather warfare and trying to get answers. Seemingly, nobody ever responds. It's just weird. It's like, does everybody just look at this and just go, oh, yeah, numerology, that couldn't be it. I think that honestly what happens. And you watch these same channels, they'll do the same thing. They'll show the bizarre weather, the stuff that doesn't make sense, but then they don't have answers. They don't know who's doing it. All they can see is the bizarreness. It's just like that. The only thing that can register in their brains is what they see with their eyes. Like, oh, that doesn't make sense to me. But then you show them this, and it also doesn't make sense in their brain. Like, oh, yeah, numerology I learned in slave school where I pledged to 13 sites for 13 years. That stuff was stupid. Yeah, the reason they programmed your mind to think that is because it's what they do every day to you. They want you to think what they're doing is stupid, that it's old world, it's a cult, it's a thing of the past. No, it's the present. That's why it's going on every time. So you got to get out of your indoctrinated mind. You got to look at the facts and how the numbers line up every damn time. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now. I'll be streaming in a little bit, Truth Seeker. Look for that live stream. You might not get a notification. It'll start within the next hour. I'm out here on the West Coast, so should start by no later than 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, and I'm going to try going a few hours today. We'll try to do a longer stream, get a lot of callers. See if we can... I want to make a point about talking about what channels we might be able to get to help collaborate with us, because, again, my analytics say we're not reaching any new people with the algorithm lockdown. We got to reach more people. This knowledge needs to get out like it once did back in the 2017, 2018 era before it'd been deleted 1,000 times. Till next time, Truth Seeker.